Hi everyone, I'm Natalia for the Stories from Canada, and today we're gonna talk about dating. Yes, dating. Why? Because dating can be a challenge during this pandemic time for single people. All these restrictions can be kind of obstacles for single people to meet each other. So, how young people today can navigate dating during this difficult time? To answer this question, we invited to talk to Natalie Henkin, a young, beautiful Montreal resident. According to her, there are ways to still enter the dating market safely. Natalie has been single since July of last year. Now she's focused more on her studies and work and is not looking for any type of relationship. However, depending on how the meeting with new people goes, she would be willing to go further. At the same time, she says the normal places where you would go to meet somebody, like bars, restaurants, theaters, gyms, are not the options anymore.
So yeah, I feel like we're a little bit less motivated to meet maybe. It's definitely been a bit of a challenge. I would describe it like that, yeah. Activities that are outside, or if two people both live on their own, then they can meet together in one of their houses. That's not really an issue. And I think, well, now they've added the new restrictions where they're closing gyms, but you can go to some places and stay like 2 meters apart and be safe. So it's an option, it's just not the best way to do it in my opinion. So there are a few apps that exist. The main one, I guess, that most people use is Tinder. The limitations of Tinder are that you're relying on the person's physical appearance. So with Tinder, I think you have a maximum of 9 pictures and or videos that you can have, and you have a short bio. So the first impression of this person that you will get will be based off of their physical appearance and what they choose to put or not put in that little bio. So I think that you're kind of taking a risk, because when you meet somebody organically, when you can see their body language, their mannerisms, and all of that comes into effect. Whereas if I'm just looking at somebody's pictures, I mean, I feel a little bit bad, but I become more shallow and superficial in what I'm looking for. But there are apps such as Bumble or Hinge, which are more tailored to find a partner. So you have little prompts and they ask you, like, say 2 truths and a lie, or like, what is your perfect date? And then you get a better preview of that person, because well, what they like to do when they meet you, what are they like, what do they like to do. You get a better idea of them to replace what you would get in an organic meeting. Yeah, it's definitely an option. I mean, you can't stop people from meeting each other, right? So you have to have tools to adapt to the situation. These apps have been around for as long as I can remember, but now I think that they're more important than ever. So in a time where meeting is difficult, these apps are kind of used to facilitate that. If you're considering like the invasion of privacy aspect, where these apps are monitoring every move that you make and then they analyze your behavior and target you for that, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's dangerous. Maybe it feels a little bit invasive, but I think that in times like these, you have to be willing to make certain sacrifices, because if you choose to stay off of these apps for that reason, well, you're going to be missing out on the action, if you will, because you don't really have the opportunity to meet anyone in another way. If you're talking about meeting somebody, not being sure who they are, and then they're a stranger and there's danger there, yeah. But these apps have now like safety measures. So they're going to ask you to verify your profile, where you will, post your pictures, and then you have to post a selfie where they can like validate that that's really you. Anytime that somebody says something that's inappropriate, it'll be flagged, and then you get a little message asking you like, oh, did this person say something that's inappropriate? Like, do you need to report them? I think that there are measures that are put into place to make the experience as safe as possible. The way that I see Tinder, it's more of a casual meetup app as opposed to Bumble and Hinge. So in my mind, everybody who uses Tinder automatically is just looking for something casual or like a one-night stand. However, I've noticed this time around on Tinder, because I have used it in the past, what people who are looking for a serious relationship will do is they will actually have a full bio, and they will write out that they're looking for something that is serious. The people who aren't necessarily looking for a relationship will not bother so much with their bio, or at least will not mention that they're looking for something serious. But I have noticed that more and more people are explicitly stating in their profiles that that's what they're looking for.
Is this app just for young people?
Definitely not. My personal age range is between 26 and 36 years old, and there are quite a few people who are in their mid-30s. I do know people who use Tinder and have a wider age range, and there are people past 40, past 50 on the app. I don't know in terms of proportions and numbers, but I know that it's widely used among people of all ages. Probably that a lot of men are a little bit crass, in the sense that when they start talking to you, they're immediately going to jump into conversations about, meeting up to have a one-night stand or just like purely sexual things. Though personally, I've noticed that it tends to go the other way, where men want to actually get to know you and, embark in a serious relationship. So what I hear and what is on the internet is that a lot of women just don't respond, because men tend to be more eager. If they match, first of all, they have less matches than women do in general. So when they have a match, they're going to talk to them. But women were not as eager to respond. So, if I matched with you, well, I'm not necessarily going to want to pursue that. So a lot of men are frustrated that women will either not answer at all or provide very short responses. So most apps work the same way. So you will be presented with a profile of an individual. If you are interested in them, you go through their profile. If you want the possibility of a match, you will swipe right. And if they too swipe right by looking at your profile, you will get a match. So on Tinder and Hinge, any person can start the interaction, but on Bumble, it is the woman who has to initiate the interaction, and she has 24 hours to do it. So essentially, you swipe right if you're interested, you swipe left if you're not, and if you're lucky, the other person has swiped the same way on you, so you guys can actually start interacting. I find it difficult for two people to match each other's energy over, a platform, because you're talking through a screen. So like I was saying before, you can't gauge the person's body language. You have no idea whether they're interested or how interested they are. So to me, I find that all very draining and difficult. I do talk about it with my mom, and my mom is very open to hearing about this, and I wouldn't necessarily say that she encourages me to be on the apps, but she does encourage me to, do what I want and figure out what I want in life.
And do guys often comment on girls' appearance?
Yes, that is the first comment that you will receive on Tinder. 75% of the time. The first message that a man will send you will be to tell you that you're good looking.
Natalie registered on 3 apps, Tinder, Bumble and Hinge. And although they are a bit different from one another, any of them, in her opinion, can get you a good date. At the same time, Natalie says, don't be too disappointed. You get the unexpected surprises when you meet a new person.
One time I went on a date with somebody who seemed perfect in every way possible, very nice, was willing to come pick me up, bring me to the date, etc. But during the date, the conversation led to something that was, on topic relevant then, which was the Black Lives Matter movement. And I found out that this person was very racist, and they were very loud about being racist. And this was in a public setting, so people around us could hear this. I think that in the moment I handled the situation very well, though I was very, very embarrassed, because I myself am the exact opposite of that. I try to advocate for the movement. So to be in public with somebody who is the exact, the complete opposite of what I am, was very hard and embarrassing. But now thinking back to it, I think that if I were one of the people who was around me and witnessing this, I would have thought this to be very funny. And when people ask me about, for example, my worst Tinder experience, that is what I talk about. Two of my best friends I met on Tinder. Well, one I met on Tinder and the other one I knew already, and we matched on Tinder, so we talked more. The first one, there was never any like dating intention, but the second one, we actually went on a date and then we got to talking, and I guess we realized that we were compatible in a friendly way. I do think that, you know, with the amount of people who are on these apps, chances of finding a friend are higher than a lover. Bumble, for example, has a prompt where you can say what kind of date you're comfortable with. So video chat, socially distance, outside date, or I don't know, after the pandemic. I think I'm not quite sure what the answers are. But you know, the apps have video, like new video chat or audio chat options. They're doing everything they can to keep it safe.
Although there are pros and cons of using dating sites, Natalie still suggests for single people to use them.
I think that if you are a single person in 2021 who wants to meet somebody, whether it be for friendship, you know, you're looking for a husband, a wife, or a romantic partner, I think that your best bet to find somebody is on these apps, because there are so many registered users who are looking for so many different things. And if you choose to stay at home and do nothing, especially in a time where you can't go anywhere, well, your chances of meeting somebody are slim to none. Whereas if you put yourself out there, you know, you take pretty pictures of yourself, you write up a nice bio, and you get to swiping, well, maybe you're gonna meet somebody that you're interested in.